Hi, my name is Wendy Wesley, and I'm with Insight Wellness Works, and I am a registered and licensed dietitian in St. Pete, Florida. And I'm going to make something for you today. It's called peanut butter fried rice, and I'm going to make it with shrimp. And here's the thing, I didn't have to go to the store for any of these ingredients. And the reason that's a cool thing is that I'm cooking from pantry staples. So this is a recipe that comes together really quick on a weeknight. And if you do some cooking at home, you likely have all of these ingredients, or maybe most of these ingredients in your kitchen, or you can start incorporating more. And I will say that the more I cook, the more staple ingredients I have. For instance, this used to never be a staple ingredient, but now it is. It is a toasted sesame oil. And I learned about it about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. And it's become one of those things that I always replenish when it's gone, which makes it a pantry staple. So these are things that I always have in the fridge behind me and the cupboard over here. And I thought, oh, well, what do I need to get at the store? And I kind of did the mental checklist, and I said, oh, I have everything I need to make this in my kitchen right now. And that's a cool thing. It's also nice if you have an unexpected dinner guest, someone kind of special coming over, and you want to make something nice. I've done this many times for a friend coming over. In fact, just last Saturday night, I had a friend come over kind of at the last minute, and I said, what do I have? And I put this together, and it was a nice meal. It felt special. So I am going to keep an eye on the chat. And if you have any questions, you can do one of two things. You can type it in the chat, and I will read it aloud for everybody's benefit, and answer. Excuse me. Don't be shy, please don't be shy. And or unmute yourself and say, hey, Wendy, I have a question. So what I want to do is right now run through the list of ingredients. I'm going to get these out of the way so you can see what I'm doing here on my chopping block. The first ingredient, oil. You have to have oil. This is olive oil. I'm going to make this with olive oil. I keep two kinds of oils right at the stove. I keep olive, and then I keep canola. And then I know canola kind of has a bad reputation, but I do like canola when I'm doing some kind of higher heat work. But I'm going to use olive for this recipe. And then just to give that away, I'm going to put it to the side. I mentioned the toasted sesame oil. I'm not going to use much of it because a little bit goes a long way. It is essentially the oil of sesame seeds, but the sesame seeds have been toasted, and it has this aroma that I can't describe. It's unlike anything, and it makes everything you cook, it gives your cooking this fantastic flavor of toasted sesames. And I was working at St. Anthony's Hospital, and there was this awesome salad on the salad bar, and I pulled the salad bar girl aside. I said, what's the secret? She said, toasted sesame oil. And I said, okay, that's it. I wish you could smell it. It just has this gorgeous kind of toasty, roasty, a little burnt smell. Love it. Give it a try. Okay, I'll put that over here. Sriracha. Most people have some kind of sriracha in their pantry or hot sauce, and if you don't have that, you could use hot pepper flakes. That's just to add a little bit of heat to this dish, which again is called peanut butter fried rice. This time it's with shrimp. This dish can be totally vegan. You can just do the vegetables. You can do shrimp. You can do fish. You can do chicken. You can do pork. You can do beef. All kinds of things. All kinds of proteins. Or like I said, you could make it vegan. And then speaking of, what I forgot with the eggs, in this recipe, excuse me, I always put 2 eggs, but if you wanted to make it vegan, just of course omit the eggs, but I'm going to go ahead and do 2 eggs in this recipe, and the shrimp, and then the vegetables. So got 2 eggs. Just broke that one. Okay, well, let me get another egg. Whoops. Let me get another egg. Sorry about that. Okay, I'll be more careful with this guy. Okay, 2 eggs. Then peanut butter. This is just plain old store brand peanut butter. If you want to reduce the sugar in your dish, you could use Publix makes a peanut butter that they sell in the deli, and it is just it's two ingredients. It's salt and peanuts, and they grind it. They toast the peanuts. They grind them up. They add salt, and then they sell it. And that is a no sugar added peanut butter. Now, this is a sugar added peanut butter. I like using this because I do like that it adds a little bit of sugar to the dish. If you were using a natural peanut butter and you thought, oh, I want it to be a little sweet, maybe so the kids will like it better, you could add a little regular white table sugar or brown sugar. Okay, this is ouch, that's getting hot. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. I have this pan. This is my stainless steel pan. You can also use a stainless steel wok. I have it on a hot plate because my stove is over here and the camera just doesn't work well in my kitchen that way. So I do my cooking here in the middle. So it is heating up. Okay, back to my ingredients. Soy, this is low sodium soy sauce. Or probably everybody's got some kind of soy sauce in there as a pantry staple. There's so many uses for soy sauce. And then the last one, now this one is optional. It's something new that I've kind of discovered. And I had a friend at St. Anthony's from Thailand. She's the manager of the gift shop. And she taught me she taught me this recipe. This is her method. And she said, she thinks that the secret to her good fried rice is this oyster flavored sauce. And it's like a soy sauce, but it's super, super, super thick, super concentrated. And as a result, because I am using peanut butter that has salt, soy sauce that is loaded with salt, and this is loaded with salt, I'm going to add no salt, no additional salt to this recipe, because these three, the oyster sauce and the soy and the peanut butter, are going to provide enough sodium for this. Probably too much sodium, but please don't add any salt to this while you're cooking. Okay, so let me set this aside. I'm putting them over here so you can kind of see my work area. So let's get down to the other, the fresh ingredients. I always have bell peppers in the house. If the yellow and the red and the orange are on sale, I buy them, but they're not on sale. They were very, very expensive at the store, so I just did green. I always have some peppers in the house. It's just a personal preference. Depending on how you cook, is something I always like to have. Onions. I mean, I think that everybody should have onions in the house. I think that all great meals start with onions. Your spaghetti meatball starts with onion. You're going to make a curry, starts with onion. You're going to make, let's see, what else? You're going to make anything. It really kind of starts with onion. So always have onion in the house. I always have carrots in the house. They are a very low moisture root vegetable, and they will last forever in the refrigerator. If they grow a little bit of hair, it's not the end of the world. You just kind of shave it off with your vegetable peeler and the carrot is good to go. A confession, this carrot did have a little bit of hair on it. I just got rid of it. And it's a good carrot. It still has moisture in it and it's ready to go. Garlic. These are cloves of fresh garlic. Again, garlic is something I always have in the house. For me, it's a staple item. And then rice. This rice was cooked a few days ago, and I've kept it in my refrigerator. And now the reason I cooked it in advance is because my friend from St. Anthony's who taught me this said her other secret to making really good fried rice is using cold rice. And I think it has something to do with the starch on the outside of the rice. I think the starch, when I fry up the rice, it's going to get nice and toasty brown. And I think it's because it's cold and the starch on the outside of it helps to brown it. So this, I have basmati rice and regular long grain rice in the house right now. I'm not one to do a lot of food prep on a Sunday. Now, if you're that kind of person who will devote, a chunk of time on Sunday to do a lot of meal prep for the week, that's awesome. I love that. But I tried to do that. And I just kind of found out I wasn't that kind of person. But because I like to cook with how they say à la minute, which is in the moment. I like to take all the ingredients and put it together. I don't really like to cook it all in advance and then eat it later. So, but what I will do on Sunday is I will cook a grain. So I will cook a pan of rice, or I will cook a pan of pasta, or maybe some quinoa or some farro or something. And all these things make great bases for bowls. You go to restaurants and they have bowl restaurants and you pay $16 for a bowl. It kind of kills me when I pay $16 for a bowl. So I make them at home. But to do that, it helps like on some Tuesday night if the grain is already cooked. So I will on Sunday cook a grain like this rice or the pasta or something, and without the intention of eating it, and I'll put it in the fridge. And then I know, like, if I want to make dinner on a Tuesday or whatever night, I've kind of already that much further ahead of the game because the grain is already cooked. I'm not getting a saucepan, boiling the water, cooking the grain. Yeah, it slows the whole process down. So cook a grain on Sunday, or a couple of grains on Sunday. That's one of the best hacks I have, is cook a grain on Sunday. So rice is definitely one of the ingredients. If you want to use brown rice, you absolutely can. That will increase the B vitamins, that will increase the iron, and it will definitely increase the fiber. I just prefer the flavor of this jasmine rice. It just has, and you probably know jasmine rice has this beautiful, beautiful aroma. It's just a great smell, and I just love jasmine rice. And then the last ingredient I want to show is these shrimp. Now, I thawed these shrimp 10 minutes ago. And the reason I like shrimp, I always have it in my freezer as a staple item, is that it thaws so quickly. And so there are times where I forget to pull a protein or something out of the freezer for dinner, like a chicken or steak or something. I always know that in my freezer I've got shrimp, and they are going to thaw in 5 to 8 minutes. You put it in a little bit of water, let it sit for 5 minutes, and then you take the peels off, and these are 100%, these are ready to go. And 10 minutes ago they were frozen. So I love shrimp for that reason. These are uncooked. I recommend that you buy uncooked shrimp. Peel on or peel off, it doesn't matter. I pulled the tails off, except for this one. I missed the tail on this one. I'm going to yank him off, throw him in the sink. So I pulled the tails off of them because when you're eating the dish, you don't want to have to, mess with your fingers, because this can be kind of a gooey, sticky dish. So I pull the tails off. So everything is just, fork right in the mouth, or chopsticks right in the mouth. I use chopsticks when I eat this. So, okay, talk. First thing I'm going to do now, what my friend Chu from St. Anthony's, who's from Thailand, showed me was that the mistake I was making when I used to make fried rice, and it wasn't very good, is that I would throw everything in the pan all at once, and it would just kind of be this big kind of a mush. And she said, no, you have to cook and remove, cook and remove, cook and remove. And so that's what I'm going to do. The first thing I'm going to do, oh, that's hot. I am a mess. First thing I'm going to do, this is a hot pan, very good. I'm going to throw a little bit of olive oil. When you're using a decanter like this, one cool hack is that when you turn it upside down and you count to 1, that's the equivalent to about 1 tablespoon. If you count to 2, that's the equivalent to 2 tablespoons. So now another thing that kind of helps me move fast in the kitchen is I don't have to go find my tablespoon measuring device. And I don't have to wash it, because I'm all about how can I use as few dishes as possible, because dishes just slow your life down. So this is one thing I'll do. I'll turn this upside down for 1 second, and it'll give me about a tablespoon of oil. Ready? 1. And that's about a tablespoon of oil. Now, the way I know my oil is hot and ready to go is how fast does it move across the surface of the pan. This oil is moving. I'd like it to move a little faster. So if I let it sit here and heat up, but that's how I know if my oil is ready, is it should move very, very quickly across the bottom of the pan. And that's how I know I've got hot oil. So I'm just going to put one of these in and see what happens. Okay, sizzle, that's what I want. So I'm going to throw these in to the oil. Now, the thing with cooking shrimp and cooking seafood, so they're already turning pink. The thing with cooking shrimp and cooking seafood is they will cook lightning fast. And you should remove them before you think they're done. That is one trick about seafood, because it does cook very, very quickly, and it will get, if it overcooks, it gets tough and rubbery, and nobody likes that. So I'm going to give each of these a little flip, and they are almost there. That's how fast they are. They're not big shrimp too. Now, bigger shrimp, of course, will take longer to cook. Yeah, they're almost there. Okay. Maybe just a few more seconds. Now, things aren't sticking because I started with a hot pan. If you start with a cold pan or kind of a lukewarm pan, then your proteins will stick. But if you start with a hot pan, they will release nice and quick. And they're going to leave behind this magic stuff called fond. And fond is kind of the burnt bits of a protein, and it's where flavor is concentrated. So don't scrape the pan, please, and get rid of the fond. That fond is this highly, highly amazing, awesome, concentrated flavor. So I'm going to put these, I'm pulling these out and putting them in a metal bowl. And this is going to be like my storage bowl for the whole thing. And the reason I'm using a metal bowl is it's going to keep everybody nice and warm. And I'm going to put a kitchen towel over it to keep everything nice and warm. Now these shrimp will continue to cook in this metal bowl. That's why I pulled them out when I did, because I don't want them to be rubbery. I want them to be nice and kind of crisp and not, you know, kind of nice and crisp when you bite into them. I don't want them to be rubbery. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do are the eggs. I'm going to cook 2 eggs. And I didn't beat them. Probably should have, but I can break apart the yolks. I am just going to kind of soft scramble these eggs. Okay. And the reason I'm going to soft scramble is that all of these items are going to come back in the pan, and then the cooking process will continue. So I'm going to do a soft scramble on the egg because I want them to be kind of fluffy and light, and I don't want a hard scramble because, like I said, these are just going to continue to cook when I put all of it back into the pan. Let those cook a little bit. So normally when I'm making this, I would have had all of my vegetables prepped, but I didn't do that this time because I want to demonstrate how I'm prepping all of my vegetables here on my cutting board. So here is my knife, and let me give my egg like a little, I'm just kind of gently pushing it around the pan. I'm cooking it around a little bit. Let it just go a little bit more. It's still kind of wet in the middle. If you can kind of see, well, I don't know if you can see that, but it's still kind of wet in the middle. Again, don't want to overcook the egg. Like I said, if you want to make this a vegan dish, you do not have to do shrimp. You do not have to do egg. It can be completely vegan. Or you can omit the shrimp and it will be a vegetarian dish if you eat eggs. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I'm going to pull these eggs out. They are still a little gooey, but that's all right. So pulling back my my cloth, and I'm going to keep these in. This is kind of my storage bowl. I'm going to keep these eggs in with the shrimp so that everything can get added later on. Okay. Eggs in the bowl and cloth on the top to keep them nice and hot. Okay, so every meal starts with an onion. Every amazing meal starts with an onion. So I put onions in everything. People are always asking me about mounting a better, that's a little egg, mounting a better immune response. If you want to mount a great immune response for COVID, then onions and garlic are your BFFs. There's an antioxidant in them called allium. They are of the allium family, and they are, these will absolutely help you, along with vitamin C, vitamin A, and then getting adequate sleep and keeping your GI healthy with a high fiber diet. And those stress management, a little bit of exercise, and you can really help give your immune system a boost. So don't forget the onions, and definitely don't forget the garlic. Okay. So let's get this knife sharpened. This is a steel. This is sharpening steel. But every time I'm going to cut vegetables, I will take my knife and I will run it, give it a few passes on the steel. And what I'm doing is I'm honing this blade. A couple of times a year, I will pull out my sharpening stone, and I will really, really give my my knives a very, very, very good sharpening. And that's when I'm actually grinding down the blade and then fine tuning it. And I'll show you my sharpening stone. It's right here. It's kind of like a big nail file. Here you can kind of see it's dark on one side and kind of lighter on the other. Just like a nail file, you kind of get the rough edges with your knife, and then you kind of fine tune it on the smooth side. And what you're actually doing is grinding down the blade and kind of fine tuning it. But I don't do that before every time I cook because I don't have that kind of time. That's kind of a project. But before I cook, I will pull out my steel and I'll give my knives a nice pass on the steel, on the sharpening steel, like that. Okay. Now, when you're eating a very high fiber diet, and that includes onions, and that includes peppers, and that includes carrots, you will dull your knife because high fiber foods will absolutely dull your knife. So you do need to keep them sharp. The safest thing in the kitchen is a sharp knife, and the most dangerous thing in the kitchen is a dull knife. Because when it is sharp, you are working, you're not pressing down really hard. You feel good, you feel in control. And this is a great knife, has a great kind of a real grippy kind of a handle. Nice blade. Not an expensive knife either. You don't have to spend $300 and $400 on knives. You just need like a basic good 8-inch chef's knife, and you just gotta keep a blade on it. Okay. I'm going to give this onion a cut right down the middle. And I like to do that because what I'm going to do is cut off. Now, this is the root end. You see kind of the little hairies, and this is the end that came up out of the ground where the green, the onion green part came, you know what I'm trying to say. So I'm going to cut that. I'm going to cut that end. Okay. And then that makes it nice and easy for me to peel it, because I made that last cut really, really easy for me to peel it. There's a couple different ways to do an onion for this dish. I'm going to cut it in, can you see it? Yeah, you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to cut it in like very, very thin strips, very, very thin strips, because that's kind of what I want. If I wanted to dice it, like if I were like cutting it for meatloaf and I was going to put it in meatloaf and I wanted a finer dice, I would come at the onion. Here's the stem. And I would come at the onion kind of vertical against the stem. And then I would come back horizontal, and that'll give me this nice dice. But for this dish, I just want some nice thin slivers. And I am using my claw grip so I don't cut my fingers. And I'm just kind of carefully going down. Now, I know professional chefs move a lot faster than this, but I'm also not gonna work so fast that I cut myself, because I have cut myself. One time I was on Channel 10 and I cut myself while they were filming, and I grabbed a towel and I wrapped my finger, and I just kept going with the shoot with blood, like filling up the towel. It was pretty bad. So kind of learned my lesson. So again, cutting off the top, that's going to make it really, really easy for me to peel this guy. Okay, so what I see here is I've got a little bit of, I guess you'd say dirt or mold or something. It is not the end of the world. I'm just going to peel it away and then give it a quick wash. If you see, I don't know, you see this black, it is not the end of the world. It is not going to kill you. I'm just going to peel it away. I'm going to give it a quick rinse just to get all the residual off. I'm going to pat it dry, and we are good to go. Again, slicing really, really thin using my claw grip. This feels safe. I'm cutting on a wooden cutting board. I only cut on wood. If you have a glass cutting board at home, do me a favor and throw it away when you get home. Glass is the absolute worst surface to cut anything on. It's dangerous. The food slides around. It dulls your knife. It sounds terrible when you hear that, that kind of glass crunching kind of a sound. It's the absolute worst. Okay, so I've got my onions ready to go. That was a whole onion. So I like a lot of onion. If you don't like that much, you don't have to use that much. So here we go. Going to do the pepper. And again, I'm going to do strips. Just cutting, and then the bottom, and here's my top for the compost bin. I'm going to throw that in my sink for the compost bin. Those kinds of scraps, like these onion tops, these onion skins, and those bell pepper middles, will go into the compost bin. And so I'm going to do just like I did with the onion. I'm going to give them a nice thin slice. And the reason is that when I put all of this in the pan, I want everything to kind of cook at the same speed. So I'm going to try and cut everything at the same size. Okay. All right. Cutting my peppers nice and thin. Okay. See, here's cutting my peppers nice and thin. Okay. I've got a few little seeds. I'm going to pat those out. Not the end of the world. A little bit of seeds never killed anybody. Okay. Any questions? Nope. No questions in the chat. Okay. If you have any questions or you want to chime in with what you do, I want to hear about what you do, because every time I do one of these, somebody comes forward with some tip, hack, trick, new ingredient, new thing. And I always learn new stuff, and I always love to learn new stuff. So don't be shy and brag about your own cooking, please. Okay, getting rid of the middle and the seeds, seeds, and cut. Now, red peppers are awesome in here, yellow, orange. My base vegetables for this are peppers, definitely onions, garlic. I like to put carrots, and that's the next thing I'm going to do. But with my carrot, I'm going to do a little something different. And this is a fun thing. This is a fun way you can get kids involved, because maybe your kids aren't ready to use one of these, but I encourage you to get your kids handling knives and participating in the kitchen as soon as they can, because the more kids participate in the food that the more hands-on experience they have with the food, the more likely they are to eat it. So, and sometimes it takes 5 or 6 times of introducing a food to a kid before they will enjoy it. So start young on vegetables, introducing them to vegetables, having them cut vegetables, handle vegetables, talk about vegetables. Where do vegetables come from? This carrot was grown below the ground and the green sprouts came out the top. And a lot of people don't know that, because they buy a baby carrot in the grocery store and they've never seen a whole carrot. So have conversations about food. And then also food is a great way to talk about science and to teach science to kids. So it's a very, very exciting time in the kitchen. All the families together, everybody's cooking. And this is a great way to introduce your children to fruits and vegetables that is so important that they eat. So back to, why is this a good job for the kid? This is a vegetable peeler. You can't hurt yourself. Here's a carrot, and you're just going to have your kid do this, and they're participating. So what I'm going to do is add some oil. I'm probably going to do 2 tablespoons because I'm doing a lot of vegetables. So 1, 2, all right. All right. And let's see, how is it moving across the bottom? It's moving pretty fast. So I'm going to say that my oil is ready to go because it's moving pretty fast across the bottom of the pan. I'm going to say this is ready to go. So I'm going to just shave these carrots right into the pan. Now, this is a great job for kids. They can't hurt themselves. They feel like they're participating. This is also a great little hack for a salad, to shave these carrots into a salad, because they're nice and bite-sized and you're not killing your teeth, crunching them, and again, getting kids involved. I'm doing this because this is such a low moisture food, and these peppers are such high moisture foods that I have to cut these thin so they will cook at the same speed as the onions and the peppers. So here we go, shaving carrots right into the pan. Okay. And let's do the other side a little bit more. Oops. And then what's left, you give to the kids for a snack. You tell them, here, you give me your best impression of Bugs Bunny. Tell them to eat their carrot. Okay, that's going to do it. Okay, so these are going, here's my spatula, getting these going around in the oil. They are sizzling. That's a good sign. And I'm going to throw my onions and my peppers into the pan to cook. Good sizzle, good sizzle, good sizzle. Now, all of these will cook down quite a bit because there's a lot of water in green peppers. There's a lot of water in onions, and they will saute down. very nicely. I'm going to turn the heat up just a little bit so we can get this going, so we don't run out of time. Any questions? I am moving a little slow with this because I'm talking. Normally I'm moving very, very quickly through this process, which is why I do recommend this as a good weeknight dinner. Okay. I'm just going to cut a little carrot and eat it. And while this is cooking, I want to talk about what I'm going to do to serve it. I'm going to show you 3 more ingredients. You might think this is kind of an ingredient heavy dish. That's kind of a lot, especially if you're using all of these spices. But if you have these things in the kitchen, like I said, it's just a matter of pulling them out, making the dish, and then putting things away. When I serve this dish, I love to serve it with cilantro on top. So over here, I have some cilantro that I haven't chopped yet, but I'll chop when we get finished. Not everybody likes cilantro. I'm a massive cilantro fan, but my son, for instance, hates it because to him it tastes soapy. So if you are a soapy or a fresh, if you want to put your comment in the chat, and that would be fine with me. Because some people love cilantro, and for them, it always tastes really beautiful and fresh. To me, that tastes amazing. That's fresh. But my son won't touch this stuff because it tastes like he's chewing on a bar of soap. And then the other thing I have, these are just some green onions that I'm actually growing in pots outside my kitchen door, right back there. And the thing is, I took the stems of the green onion. Let me show you. I think I've got some here. Do I have some? Yeah. So I'll just use this part of the green onion, right? And then I'll just cut this, and then I'll take these roots and I'll just shove them in a flower pot, and then they will regrow and regrow and regrow. And that's what these are. You see how nice and dark green they are. And they have this wonderful oniony smell. So I will just cut these raw. I'm not going to cook them. I'm just going to cut these raw and sprinkle them on top with the cilantro that's chopped. And I have some peanuts. These are plain old Planters, dry roasted, salted peanuts. And I'm going to chop them and serve them on top. And so what that does is it gives, a little bit of fresh onion, a little bit of fresh cilantro, and a little bit of fresh, or that crunch from that peanut. And it just creates all these awesome different textures. I love that little bit of putting the chopped peanuts on top. My son loves the chopped peanuts, but when I dish his up, I definitely do not put the cilantro on. Oh, this smells great. I love the smell of peppers, onions, and carrots. And by the way, this is the beginning of my homemade spaghetti sauce. Oh, there went my spatula. This is the beginning of my homemade spaghetti sauce. I do put carrots in my spaghetti sauce because as they cook, they will slowly release sugar. And that sugar will make the spaghetti sauce really, really kind of sticky and thick. And then that will enable it to stick to the pasta really well, because that's what you want, is you want a pasta sauce, a spaghetti sauce that really, really sticks to the pasta. And those carrots do that. As they cook, they kind of slowly release these nice sugars and they make the spaghetti sauce really sticky. So this is how I start my homemade spaghetti sauce. And then from there, I would use some of those jarred tomatoes, not jarred, but the canned, Marzano tomatoes, chop those up real nice with the juice and put it in and let it all cook down with a lot of garlic. I see there's a question in the chat. I love it. Oh, what do you love? Diane Hiller, what do you love? Tell me. Okay, so cooking. All right. I think these are good. They're nice and soft. Again, I'm going to put them here in my my hot bowl, my storage bowl, and they will continue to cook. And then they will also keep everybody else nice and hot. That's the other thing. So it's almost like I've got a little oven here on my on my countertop. Oh, this pan's heavy. Oh my God. Oh man, that is heavy. Woo! Okay, all in my little hot bowl there. Oh, okay. Back on the burner. Gonna cover them up so they all stay nice and hot. There we go. Tuck it under so it all stays nice and hot. Very good. Okay. The next thing I'm gonna do is fry up the rice. But before I do that, I'm gonna get my my garlic going. So you can use jarred garlic and keep jarred garlic in your pantry as a staple. There's nothing wrong with jarred garlic, and there's nothing wrong with lemon juice, jarred lemon juice either. I always keep jarred lemon juice in my fridge just in case I forgot lemons or I don't have them. At least I have it in my my pantry. No shame in that. So this is a clove of garlic. It comes off of a bulb. The bulb is the whole thing. Here, this is a bulb of garlic, and this is a clove that will pop off the globe. It has a skin, a papery skin on the outside of it. What I do is I smash the clove underneath the blade of my knife on my cutting board with the heel of my hand. Boom. I just spent garlic everywhere. And then you see this nice papery outer skin is just going to fall off just effortlessly. Nice, nice, nice. You see how it just fell right off? Because peeling garlic is not one of my favorite things to do. And so when someone taught me that hack of smashing, now all that papery skin has just fallen right off of that garlic. That is potent. Wow, that's potent. So I like a garlic press. You don't have to use a garlic press. You can just use your knife. And I'm not one for gadgets, but I do like to have a garlic press. It's just something I like to do. So I'm going to squeeze it out. And I'm going to have it here ready to go when it's time. Again, smashing the clove underneath the blade of my knife and paper of garlic just coming off. I make a lot of homemade salad dressings, vinaigrettes, and hummus. The secret to that is this fresh garlic. I make homemade salad dressings with fresh garlic, and people eat it and they say, why is this so good? And I say, it's because of the fresh garlic. It really is. It just makes all the difference in the world. When you make a homemade vinaigrette with fresh garlic, it is just it's light years ahead of jarred, of the stuff you buy in the grocery store. So bottled salad dressing. And because it's so potent, because of the garlic, you will use less of it, which is good because oil clocks in at like 130 calories per tablespoon. So oil kind of adds up quickly. Okay, so I have my 2 cloves of garlic. Speaking of oil, I'm going to get probably a couple tablespoons going here. 1, 2, and that was maybe 1.5. And because I love the flavor of this roasted sesame oil so much, I'm going to add just a little bit, maybe a tablespoon. Okay. All right. So these oils, yep, moving pretty quickly across the bottom of the pan, and we are ready for cold rice. Cold rice right here, pouring in. You can hear that. Now that is my rice. That is the starch on the rice, sizzling in the oil. Ooh, that toasted sesame oil smells so good. And I'm scraping up all the fond from the bottom of the pan where I was cooking eggs and vegetables and shrimp. That fond is full of flavor. Full of flavor. Okay. Sauteing up. Now I'm going to kind of get it all in a single layer because what I want to do is toast this rice. I want to burn the rice. I want to burn it a little bit. I want to toast it. Okay. So I've got it all in a single layer, and you'll see it's, I do have a little cilantro in here. It was left over and it got on the cutting board and it got mixed up with some cilantro. And so I said, I'm just going to put it in the plastic bag and reuse it because I'm not prepared to eat it right now. So it does have a little bit of cilantro in it. Not the end of the world. Okay, toasting. So you see I've got it in a single layer. Now, I am not using I'm not using a non-stick pan for this, because what I want to do is I'm using stainless steel because I want to be able to get this to kind of a really, really high temperature, because what I'm trying to essentially burn the rice. So, oh, that's turning nice and toasty brown. Very good. My friend Chu from St. Anthony's, who taught me, she says, you got to get your rice nice and toasty to give it that good fried rice, nutty, toasty flavor. Okay. Sitting here for a minute. Once this toasts up a little bit more, I am going to add the garlic. The reason I have learned the hard way to never add garlic to a hot pan, because garlic will scorch and then it kind of turns bitter. So I will add the garlic with the rice, and the rice will kind of protect the garlic against the surface of the pan. And then that garlic will kind of start to nicely cook, and those flavors will release without scorching it. Because I burned so much garlic. When you burn garlic, it turns bitter, and that's not good. Okay, how's my rice doing? Getting toasty. Nice and toasty. Good, good, good. Okay. I think at this point I'm going to add my garlic. Again, the rice will protect the garlic against the surface of that pan. Allow it to cook up and not burn and scorch and get bitter. Love that smell. Scraping up the fond, the burnt. That's all nice. That's all amazing flavor. All of that fond, burnt stuff. Don't want to lose it. That's intense, concentrated flavor. Okay. So I'm going to push all of my rice to the side so that I have a little bit of surface area to make my sauce. So I'm pushing all of my rice to the side of the pan. And what I have here is some surface area to make my sauce. So what goes in the sauce? Peanut butter, sriracha, soy sauce, and the oyster sauce. Okay. So I'm going to start with my peanut butter. Again, this is just plain old store brand peanut butter. You could use chunky, and you could, it'll give it that kind of nutty feeling. Now that is a heaping, it's probably 2 tablespoons right there. And I'm going to do probably, I forgot what I called for in the recipe, maybe 2 or 3 tablespoons. I'm not sure, but I'm going to do 3 tablespoons. Okay. Because kids love peanut butter, maybe they will be more likely to, give this dish a try, because it has some familiar ingredients like eggs and peanuts and peanut butter, and then that might make the sale of vegetables go a little bit better. It's all a sales job with kids, right? Always trying to make a sale with kids. What is the question? Oh, thanks for all the tips and tricks. Oh, cool. Yeah. So again, not going to add any salt, because here's the king of salt right here. Even though it's low sodium, this is an incredibly high sodium food. So the serving size is 1 tablespoon, which is about the volume of your thumb, not much. The sodium in it is 590 milligrams of sodium in just a tablespoon of this. And this is the low sodium version. I think the regular, I think, is in the 700s. So I think I looked that up one time. I'm trying to remember. So my peanut butter is melting. It is, if you could see, it is melting on the bottom of the pan. See how it's melting? Okay. I'm going to add about a tablespoon of soy. 1. Okay. Again, because it has this spout, I can turn it upside down and count. And then that's going to give me 1 tablespoon. I'm going to do about a tablespoon of my oyster sauce. This has a weird kind of a different smell, but it's magic. This stuff is the kind of the key. My friend She was right. Okay, and 1. That's about a tablespoon. Sriracha, given a big squirt. That's about 1. And stirring up my sauce. So peanut butter, oyster sauce, soy sauce, and what was it? sriracha. Okay, now it's all here cooking, kind of blending, melting on the bottom of my pan. I'm going to incorporate the rice, stirring it all together with the sauce. All right. And then all my hot ingredients, my shrimp, my eggs, and my sauteed vegetables. Oh, this bowl is nice and hot. That's good. That's what I wanted. I don't want to put cold stuff in here. I want to put hot stuff in here. So vegetables, eggs, shrimp, all in. Nice. So incorporating the sauce and the rice into all of these previously cooked items. And I am coming up with fried rice. Takes a little while to incorporate. Again, scraping the bottom of the pan, getting all the fond, the really, really tasty bits. Now, if you look at this, you see that the vast majority of this dish is vegetables. It's a very, believe it or not, even though we have peanut butter, we have lots of sodium, and we have eggs and things, the vast majority of what we have here is vegetables, and that's a very, very high fiber food. And so this is a really, really vegetable heavy meal, which is why I really like to serve it. Normally it does not take an hour to make this. I've just been, okay. I'm gonna let all that kind of incorporate. Everybody gets happy together in the pan. Okay, continue cooking. Now for my toppings. Let me grab my cilantro. The way I cut cilantro is I just I ball it up. Kind of ball it up, ball it up, ball it up, ball it up. See, I've got a ball, kind of a ball of cilantro. And with my knife, you can see what I'm doing. I'm gonna move my spoon. You can see what I'm doing. Just going to using my claw grip, just giving it a quick, what they call a chiffonade, stems and all. The stems have awesome crunch and that great bursting kind of cilantro flavor that I absolutely love. So stems and all, I include the stems. Some purists would be like, you can't include the stems one day. I'm like, I can include the stems. I can do whatever I want. Plus, there's lots of fiber, minerals, vitamins, antioxidants in the stems, so include them. Okay, there's my cilantro. Next are my green onions that I grew, and then another green onion that I got from the grocery store. And then when I'm done with this, I'm gonna go out my kitchen door and I'm gonna just shove this guy. Let me cut. Okay, I'm gonna shove that guy into the dirt. And then from the top will come out green. It's awesome. Okay, let me set him aside. And then let me give this a stir. Woo, getting nice. And even the rice is continuing to toast. Everything's continuing to cook. I'm really glad I didn't overdo my eggs because I don't want them to be a hard scramble. I still want them to be kind of nice and fluffy. I don't want my shrimp to be overdone. And that's why I undercooked everything. Okay, and let me do my green onions all together. This is going to add bright green color, crunch, flavor to the top of the dish. Okay. Yeah, and this is when I would cut myself, right? When I'm in front of people, this is when I would cut myself. Okay, and there we go. There's our chopped green onion, and then last, our peanuts. Again, these are just plain old roasted, salted Planters peanuts. If you want to reduce the sodium in this dish, you can do unsalted. Because the whole idea behind this is not really to add more salt, but it's to add that crunch and that awesome peanut flavor. So just chopping. Turn off my burner. Okay. Chopping the peanuts. Ooh, drop one on the floor. Here comes a dog. He likes peanuts. Chop, chop, chop. Okay. That looks good. Okay. I have here a white plate I chose a white plate because I want you to see how pretty it is on the plate. Okay. Okay. That's about a serving size. I did cook, I think I did 6 shrimp. So if you're like feeding, I don't know, three people, maybe even 4 people, everybody gets just a couple of shrimp, no big deal. And of course there's egg in here for protein. And so here's this on the plate. There's my fried rice. And then I'm going to top with my green onion. Pretty, pretty, pretty. And I'm going to top with my cilantro. Pretty flavorful. There's my cilantro. And I'm going to top with some peanuts. Peanuts on. Oh, that looks awesome. That looks beautiful. Let me get my chopsticks. I like to eat this with chopsticks. Just kind of makes it fun. My chopsticks. Let's see, how do they go like this. And there is my peanut butter fried rice with shrimp, topped with the cilantro and green onions and roasted peanuts. And I'm going to eat just a little piece of egg. Oh, I love this dish. One of my all-time favorite dishes. Any questions? Any variations? Anybody doing this at home? Similar kind of thing at home? Oh, I love it. This is my lunch. It's got a good spice from the sriracha, but not too much. It's not overpowering. I like a little bit of spice, but I don't think that your food should be so spicy that that's all you taste. I think that's not a sign of good cooking. It's super spicy. So we're almost done. I'll leave it open just for maybe a few more minutes. And if nobody has any questions, we can wrap it up and then go on our way. Could you replace peanut? Oh, yes, that's a good question. She asked if you could replace peanut butter with almond butter. 100%. Yeah, 100%. I just prefer peanuts in this. It just kind of gives it that nice Asian kind of flavor that I like. So I'm going to leave you with this. If you are doing a lot of chewing of your food, it's a good sign that you are eating a very, very high fiber diet. And people who eat very, very high fiber diets have lower rates of diabetes and cardiac disease. So if you are chewing, you are not driving chronic disease. But let's say if you're not chewing, if your food kind of goes down the throat nice and fast with minimal chewing, it likely means it might be a very high added sugar food. It might be a very low fiber food, and you might be driving diabetes and cardiac disease. So pay attention. I'm going to leave you with that. Pay attention to when you're, are you chewing your food? And if you're doing a lot of chewing, it means that you're probably eating a very, very high fiber diet. I see another question. I'm sorry. Looks amazing. Can't wait to make this for dinner. Thank you so much. Thank you for saying that, Karen. And then Lynn says, I make a similar dish with no spice and liquid aminos instead of soy. That's a really good idea, because I'm assuming that those are a sodium-free food, because this is not there's a lot of salt in this dish, and it's because of the soy sauce and the oyster sauce, even using low sodium. Just soy is tough. If you can find an alternative to soy, that's really good. And if you have any more questions, I'll sign off. And I thank you for listening. And I have given the recipe to my contact person, and she's going to forward it on to you. So thank you for coming and listening to this presentation. And I'll sign off now. Thanks. Bye-bye.